walking around in a semi-empty rose garden. This show is rather personal and helpful, especially at this time. I'd like to discuss my concept of a life map and an instruction manual upon birth. These are both inspirational items that may benefit people just as they benefit me. First of all, when I was born along with my birth certificate. I got a medal, a beautiful medal that was at the time of my birth. So that was really inspirational to kind of be born with an award. It's not an ego thing. It's like I have to live up to this and keep creating, And so what I like to say is, and also a lot of people that I know live by 5-year increments. They go, what are you going to do in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? I don't live that way. I live with a life map. It's a totally independent approach that I'd like to share and also offer my services because they're natural. My services of a life consultant, business consultant, and personal consultant, kind of like a life coach in business or personal. And the reason for that is because I'm not perfect, of course, and I have weaknesses and strengths, but I feel like I always create and hopefully enjoy my life, and I can impart that spark upon those who may need it. And I know that there's a lot of people who do, people who actually have money to spend, unlike me. So I'll get to the concepts of these two things. First of all, what do I mean by an instruction manual upon birth? Imagine if your parents or biological creators or even your grandparents or whoever is alive at that time write a note for you for the rest of your life in this book. There's a little keepsake there. Maybe, I don't know, a lock of hair or a special memento from a war, like a medal or a photograph that's signed. Something to provide energetic value that you can touch, hold. It's not just virtual, because virtual is good. Virtual you can take anywhere, obviously. But physical can provide energy, sustenance, if one knows how to utilize that. And the other thing is that there could be some instructions, literally, about if you get depressed. Well, aside from seeing a therapist, this is what you could do. This is the kind of music that helped me out. Maybe it could help you out. This is the kind of song that gave me life. This is the kind of smell, whether it's lavender or rose or whatever, that brought me great memories. Maybe it could do the same for you. So specific instructions about different elements, maybe your favorite recipe that you'd like to share with a future offspring in specific detail, so they don't have to incorrectly make it into something that wouldn't taste right. There could be a poem or a blessing for their future. There could be perhaps a DNA piece of information like your haplogroup. There could be your favorite archetypes, perhaps a lion and your favorite metal, perhaps gold, and your favorite angel, perhaps out of the 7 main cherubim. So there's so many things that you can add to this book. I just find it to be something invaluable, and by that I mean value to the extreme. I could assist you with creating such a book, or I could just advise you, of course, or you could just take this advice. It's general, I'd say, but I just think something like that would be amazing for everyone to carry with them through their life, to give them a purpose. The other thing is a life map. So as I mentioned, a lot of people have this thing about, well, what are you going to do in 5 years? What are you going to do in 10 years? It sounds very much like an interrogation sometimes when people talk to each other that way, whether it's on a date or friends or business colleagues. It just seems cliff-like, because every 5 years, every 5-year increment is almost like a cliff that you're supposed to uphold a parachute towards, or rise higher and higher and higher, as if to make people feel like you're worthy, like for approval. And well, I'm just not one of those approval type of people. So I live by a life map. This is not something I got from anywhere else. Well, neither is that. Neither is anything I'm saying. But this is all from my soul. So a life map is an emotional visual map in your psyche, which you can then transfer onto paper or computer or wherever you want to, that has all of the things that you're interested in. It includes all the travels that you like to go to, all the things you like to. These are the things that I have on my thing. The place I want to go to, the things I collect, the things I create, the things I want to share and express, the things I want to gift others. God, there's so many more things on my life map. Whether it's love, sensuality, gifting, collecting, creating, expressing, rejoicing, traveling, experiencing, just like spirituality, angelic archetypes, whatever the stones that matter to you, or perhaps the investments that matter to you if you're more pragmatic. All of those things. And just what I do is I have many categories, and I always choose. I look through the map unconsciously. I feel it out every year, and I go, I'm going to take 2 or 3 things out of my lists, and I have a lot of lists. And remember, these lists are not forced by you. They're not like, well, I have to do this, or I have to come up with something. They have to flow from you. They have to be things that genuinely interest you. They have to be natural. And for that, you have to connect to your soul. And then you write them all down, or first of all, you see them. You write them up. But here's the thing. People who have those boards up on a wall, I never have one of those, because let's say you're having a bad day, or there's a negative energy flowing, or whatever. You're looking into that wall at a bad time. You're transferring the energy of that moment and that day into that wall, and then it just becomes polluted. Now, some people will say that wall can inspire them during hard times, and that's great. I'm not one of those people. I don't need that kind of inspiration. I like to have my life map only when it's the most clear and pure time and energy. No one or anything is getting in my way of visualizing and achieving what I need. Otherwise, I just don't do it at that time, because the timing is polluted, and I don't want to transfer that energy into the future. I've seen that happen many times, and I think that there's an unawareness to that, and there's a lot of tools that are given that I've heard of publicly, which are half, the rest of the word that I want to say, half they're unreliable tools, because they only work in certain circumstances in certain ways. Otherwise, they're pollutants to the psyche, and there's just a way to do it correctly. And so what I would recommend, actually, if you feel like it, of course, is something of this nature, so that you don't feel interrogated by people in terms of your approval achievements, what they consider to be your success. In my opinion, survival, of course, is success in itself. Along with that is the soulful nature of every person, which is different. And as an artist, I don't feel comfortable with those 5-year things. I feel comfortable with choosing the things out of my life map every year and doing them. And anyway, for specific information, if you're interested in what I do naturally, I can provide my consulting specific services to you, either as an individual or as a business or a company. That doesn't really matter, because I can apply this to any of those things which are beneficial in general. And you could just go to my website, mikaeltank.com, mikaeltank.com. You can send me a message or an inquiry. Well, here I am, right in the middle of the rose garden. I just stepped right into the middle. The sun is shining. The roses are not up yet, of course, because it's January. Nonetheless, here I am, and I'd like to wish everybody a very happy new year.